So we're going to try something new here. Unfortunately, I'm having a few technical issues with the Sigma FP. It's not recording sound. So we'll fall back on older technology. This is a Pentax 645Z with a Pentax A 645A 45mm lens. So, God, I swear, all this technology. But it's fun. It's a hobby, right? I mean, yeah. So anyway, I'm home from lunch, smoking a little Peterson, an Aaron finish. Nice, yeah. P-lip. I kind of like the P-lip. I don't think there's a significant difference, but I kind of like it. So I need to get back to work here, but we had our first project management meeting this morning, or at least the first one that I'm attending. And I'm attending these because I'm managing small projects, which is fun, actually. And I actually have a kind of a predisposition towards that. What I have been doing is mapping GIS stuff for years. And that requires a certain project management perspective. So and in fact, I just kind of see the world that way in terms of project management projects. So, for instance, let's take a mundane example. Going to the store. That could be a project management project. So you have a time frame, a beginning and an end of your expectation about when you'll be at the store. You have a list of things you want to pick up. So you have expectations on deliverables. So you've got your timeline and you've got your deliverables. And you have a budget, because you're not going to spend more than you have. And you have given your list, you've done this enough times that you know about what it's going to cost. You'll be slightly shocked because groceries are up about 8.5% on average, which means there's some items that are up a lot. And it's going to cost you more to get there because gasoline is up. So you have to take those into account as well. I'm smoking some more of that Balkan mixture from the With and Hogarth. I like that. That's good stuff. Very mild. For a new blend, for a fresh out of the tin blend. A lot of my stuff's been sitting on my shelf for a while, so it's kind of cellared, aged. And so it's always pretty mild. So I always expect new tins to be kind of wet and kind of edgy, because they haven't mellowed. But honestly, this is good stuff. So, yeah. So, I forget what the current title is for it, but the Great Shake-Up or whatever in the workplace where people are leaving. Oh my gosh, during COVID they either realized, hey, I have been working all my life and suddenly I have some extra free time and I really enjoy that, so I'm going to retire early. And I can do it because housing prices are up so much, and that's pretty much everybody's big investment. And the stock market too is up, so it allows people to actually retire where they couldn't have before. So people are retiring early. Well, that's happening at my place of work as well. So my immediate supervisor, who's a civil engineer, has decided to go back to where he was working before so he can dive back into that retirement program, which is really good. And he'll make, I don't know, 35% more than he's making where he's at now. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I thought, you'd be a fool to not do that. the place where I work is a small government that offers a lot of community and interaction with people in that community. And it's really a fun place to work most of the time. So it has its frustrations, of course. Every place does. So he's departing. So I've been handed various small projects to oversee. And so my department has, which I switched to, or was switched to, is community development. So housing, new building projects, maintenance of roads and whatnot. So actually I think that's a lot of fun. I trained in architecture and journalism, and project management is a natural part of those two things. Now I went in a different direction and did GIS and mapping, but it's all kind of interrelated. So now I'm doing project management and then some mapping on the side. So it's very interesting. My frustration with some of this is that I'm being brought in halfway in and without all the information I need to comfortably take over these projects. And like in any good relationship, communication is everything. Everything. So, and there's rarely enough of it. So, it's frustrating. You don't know what you don't know until you realize that you don't know it. So, but it's certainly a universal truth. And that's kind of where I'm at now, which indicates I'm on the learning curve. Yeah. And I'm not very versed in contracts. Construction stuff somewhat, but not as much as I could have been given my architectural background, which I did not pursue. Once I got out of college, it was like, I'm going to be a mediocre architect. Yeah. So, there were just folks, women too, make some great architects. They're just much more OCD, much more detail oriented than I was. I was more bigger picture rather than focused on all the details. And I found that a little ponderous to be so focused on all the details. And I didn't get a lot of pleasure out of that, a lot of joy. So, and I'm not a really big closure person either. So you kind of need to be in that field. Life is not like that. I mean, you just don't get closure a lot of times. You just continue on. So, yeah, that's just how it is. But I'm finding it to be a lot of fun, as long as I have enough information to work with. So that's been my frustration. So we had this meeting today, and wow, there's a lot of projects being juggled. I'm blessed, honestly, by having the big boss who keeps track of all these projects, and he's a good manager. And then our finance person within the department, she's awesome too. So that really helps. But there's just some of the stuff I'm picking up pieces from a few years ago, and I just don't have all the info. Yeah, it's frustrating. But that's my lot in life right now. So, and as you discover what you don't know, then you get to know it, and there's less and less stuff you don't know. So it works out. Yeah. But it's certainly a big change. I've always been managing projects kind of, but yeah, not on this scale and not involving a lot of people usually. That's I've had a really great work life, honestly, I'll tell you what. I'm going to see if I'm in focus here. This is a manual focus system here. It's a manual focus lens. It's an old A series 645 lens, so they're all manual focus from the film era. Yeah, so I've always enjoyed kind of matching digital with film era stuff. One thing I found is that those older lenses tend not to be as sharp as modern high quality lenses. So, which are like, people say, oh, they don't have any character. They're too sharp. Well, yeah, I don't know about that. So, we'll see how this turns out. But I may have to send the Sigma in to be repaired, perhaps. Oh no. And it's a hit and miss thing. Sometimes it'll record sound, sometimes it won't. Well, that's a killer for doing this stuff. You know, that just doesn't work. So, yeah. Yeah, that Balkan mixture is just like really good. It's tasty. Tasty but mild. So, yeah, that kind of makes me think about work, you know. Our civil engineer is returning to where he was before for financial reasons primarily. But he also just became so overworked that he just couldn't keep up. So, yeah. So it's important to be able to say no. But what I end up doing is I always have, integrate work into the rest of my life. Whatever I'm doing as a career into the rest of my life. And I've been quite successful at that. I am not one of those people who wants to make the most money possible and do the least amount of work. I'm just not geared that way. I'm more into weaving my work into the tapestry that is my life. So I have a lot of work threads woven through making up my tapestry, which I think makes it a much more interesting product. So that's how I do it. And I have had jobs where it's just a job, and I just don't last very long there. I mean, it's just, I find it boring, uninvolving, soul-sucking, and completely not what I want to be doing with my life. So I'd rather do work that pays me less, perhaps. Not necessarily, but it does. In an organization that I believe in and have faith in and am a part of, and not just a passing through detached worker making widgets. I'm just not, that's not my thing. And if it's, I realize that's the thing for a lot of people, but just ever since I was a little kid, I wanted full engagement. And that means emotional engagement as well, which is always a little perilous with work because, you know, there are elements that are not within your control. So to put all your eggs in that basket, including your emotional ones, can be a little risky, but I have had good results. So that's how I like to do it. And so this project management thing is just kind of a continuation of that. And it's actually very satisfying. I'm enjoying it. So, yeah, work needs to evolve. And I was getting a little stagnant, I have to admit. You know, I had kind of perfected what I was doing where I was. And, maybe I needed a new challenge. And so, bingo, there it is. So, yeah, anyway. life is good. Life is good. Had a medical checkup earlier in the week. We did an extensive blood panel and so forth last week. So this was more looking at the results of that. It was all good. I did A1C and all that stuff. See if I'm pre-diabetic. No, I'm not. So, given my family genetics, I could live a long time. So you better enjoy what you're doing for work, because it's the best part of every day, the best part of every week, the best part of every year. So it better be something you enjoy and get value out of. That's how I look at it. I mean, I know a lot of people get golden handcuffed to their big suburban house and their 2 new cars and their stuff. And it's comfortable and it's familiar and it's easy. But I know a lot of people just don't like their jobs at all. And that's really a shame. I think that's hard on your soul. So, yeah. That's just me. So, you do it the way you want. That's good. This little Pete's nice. It doesn't have... there's a fill. There's a fill. Oh, there's a fill. Yeah, so there's a few. There's another. There's another. But so what? I mean, I don't really care about fills. It's weird that they use kind of this pink putty. So they just really stand out after a while. I don't know what else you'd use. That must be the time-honored method. But Petersons are kind of a fallback. I have some Savinellis too. That there's a unfinished. It's like a 616 unfinished, where you wipe it on your forehead and it gradually absorbs oils and becomes kind of a natural finish. I love that pipe. It's a nice size. It's got a nice bend to it. It is a bit like this, maybe a slightly larger bowl. And I don't know, it just appeals. So, yeah, the nature of work. Everybody does it different. Well, if you're going to look for something new, this might be a good time to do it, honestly, because there's just so much churn in the workplace that there are a lot of people leaving jobs that they've had for years, either retiring out or doing something new because they're tired of it, you know. So that's actually probably very healthy. We tend to get stuck in grooves, and I was kind of doing that too. It's easy. Yeah. Nice. Little bird song. Kind of chilly, but it's only early mid-April, so to be expected. Anyway, I gotta get back to work. So